At the heart of America's border crisis is the role of George Soros, whose billions in funding have created powerful incentives for migrants to break the law instead of following legal pathways. Soros-backed NGOs pour resources into aiding illegal crossings, paying for travel, legal defense, and resettlement for those who bypass the system. This has emboldened cartels and traffickers, who use these networks to move people across the border, often at great human cost. Flashback to 2023. America's southern border was in meltdown. Encounters hit record highs, over 250,000 in December, more than 2 million for the year, overwhelming law enforcement, flooding towns, and turning the US into a jackpot for human smugglers. At the center of the storm was billionaire George Soros, whose Open Society foundations pumped billions into NGOs that fight deportation, sue states, and lobby for weaker enforcement. Groups like the Vera Institute of Justice and the Acacia Center for Justice, fueled by Soros billions and padded with government contracts, built an industry out of open borders. Vera alone landed a near $1 billion contract from Health and Human Services to manage migrant children, while also pushing defund the police and fighting ICE. The result? Cartel profits exploded to $13 billion a year just from smuggling, matching drug profits. Migrants paid thousands each, only to be extorted, kidnapped, or trafficked along the way. The UN reports 70% of migrants face assault on the trail. Over a third of women suffer sexual abuse, and more than 350,000 migrant kids went missing in the US system. Children who vanished into a pipeline predators exploited. At the same time, Soros funnels money into media outlets and advocacy groups that shape the narrative, framing border enforcement as cruel, while portraying unchecked migration as a moral duty. In reality, his influence tilts the scales, making it harder for honest immigrants who follow the rules, while rewarding those who violate them. By bankrolling both NGOs and sympathetic media, Soros ensures not just the flow of migrants across the border, but also the public perception that shields him from scrutiny, turning what should be a matter of law and order into a political weapon. Between 2016 and 2020, OSF poured over $52 million into media outfits and journalism projects. His money bankrolled Media Matters, a left-wing attack dog that wages war on conservatives, censors dissent, and dictates what gets flagged as misinformation. The narrative is carefully crafted. Migration framed as humanitarian, not crisis. Equity pushed over fairness. America cast as the villain, not the solution. CNN, The New York Times, and others happily oblige, rarely exposing cartel violence or trafficking. That's the media machine. Control the stories, bury the damage, and protect the brand. And when anyone challenges him, the so-called fact-checkers, often on Soros' payroll, rush to dismiss it as fake news. But the facts show decades of disruption. In 1992, Soros shorted the British pound, making $1 billion in a day while wrecking the UK economy. In 1997, his bets on Asian currencies fueled economic collapses in Thailand and Malaysia, leading leaders there to call him a moron and a vulture for profiting off misery. Even his 1998 60 Minutes interview still haunts him, where, as a teenager in Nazi-occupied Hungary, he admitted helping inventory Jewish property under false identity. Asked if he felt guilt, he laughed and said, "Not at all." To critics, that cold, opportunistic answer is the key to his career. Thrive on destabilization, profit from chaos, and never look back. He repeated the pattern on the world stage. Soros poured millions into color revolutions, funding NGOs and activists who toppled governments in Georgia's Rose Revolution and Ukraine's Orange Revolution. By his own admission, OSF played a role in shaping Ukraine's 2014 Euromaidan uprising. In a separate effort, the foundation spent $140 million in 2021 supporting anti-Russian groups. In the US, his influence took another form: prosecutors. He's bankrolled 75 district attorneys through PACs, including Alvin Bragg in New York, who let violent criminals walk while targeting Trump. After 2020, cities with these so-called reform district attorneys saw murders rise by as much as 30%, part of Soros' long-term plan to weaken law and order. The same formula showed up in America's culture wars. Soros dumped $20 million into groups like Black Lives Matter and the Working Families Party in 2020. He pledged $500 million for refugee projects globally, blamed for flooding Europe with migrants, prompting Hungary to ban OSF in 2018, Russia to expel it in 2015. In 2023, 93-year-old George Soros stepped back, passing the reins of his $25 billion Open Society foundations to his son Alexander. Alex vowed to carry on his father's vision, funding NGOs that promote open societies, cementing the Soros legacy of a borderless, interconnected world. Subscribe for more deep dives, hit that like button if this gave you new insight, and share your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you.